So my lesson plan is aimed at Year 6 students. I've decided to go for a cross-curricular lesson plan involving visual arts into health and physical education. The topic will be on CPEP jumper design. One of the content descriptors I decided to focus on was development and application of artistic techniques and processes, shape, colour, line, space, texture, value, all used to create pieces of art. General capabilities came up with critical and creative thinking and personal and social capability. So students' prior knowledge. Students have been working on a long-term sports season. This requires students to take on roles in order to fulfill a real-life simulation of a season of AFL within their school term. They've decided on roles and begun basic skills for their teams. Students are aware that the season is under their control and have an understanding of the CPEP model. Students have engaged in previous visual arts lessons where they explored colour and space in preparation for this lesson. Now, the teaching purpose I have, this lesson aims to further develop the students' understanding of the importance of colour choice and space within their designs for sporting Guernseys. They'll be required to include reasoning as to their colour choices and their placement for logos. It is also to create a Guernsey for their team to wear during the CPEP season and in their sport lessons. Learning objectives. On completion of this lesson, students will be able to design a Guernsey appropriate for their team for the CPEP season, identify the importance of colour in their design and explore space on their design and identify reasons for focal points and symmetries. The assessment. Students will have a completed Guernsey by the end of it, and students will include a written piece, no more than 100 to 150 words, explaining their use of colour and space in their design. And preparation and resources. Newspapers will be laid out on the tables to protect surfaces. They'll be provided with paintbrushes, both flat and round, depending on the different spaces that they wish to paint. Watercolour paints, watercolour pencils, cup of water, cloth, regular coloured pencils, and A3 paper with a Guernsey outline. There is a template in the learning experiences. Now, catering for diversity. This lesson allows participation from students with all abilities. Those who need assistance are accompanied by an EA. Allergies to paint or other materials taken into consideration and adjusted based upon needs. This activity allows students to work independently or gain assistance either from the teacher or their peers. So for the first 5 minutes we have a bit of an introduction, inform, inspire the students. I've got a small little video. It explores colour. It also uses colour to express feelings, and it's just a bit of a silly song to get students a bit engaged. From there, the show section, so it's space activity. The students will learn the importance of space, including size, symmetry and focal point. The teacher will have some examples of logos and Guernseys from sporting organisations. Teacher will explain the positioning of logos, their relative size and the importance of these. So this may be size due to sponsors, this may be size due to the actual team itself. Teacher has their own Guernsey in which they have annotated with key points they wish the students to discover. We'll have a few examples. Fremantle Dockers, GWS and Perth Wildcats Guernseys. Show these to the students, different designs. The try section, students be split into 6 groups based upon a size of roughly 30 in the class. Each group is given an A3 version of the Guernseys above, and each Guernsey being used twice. From here, the students are to annotate the image. They're required to describe the colours and why they are used, the logos and images found on the Guernsey, including size and placement, and why they may have been placed like this. Students are given the opportunity to use texters and any other markers to write down these notes. Teacher is able to walk around the room and guide the students who need extra support. The next part of the exercise for all students pass the A3 sheet to the group on their left. From here, they'll continue this, annotating each, which will then be continued until each group has had all 3 of the Guernseys. The activity is designed to facilitate a bit of critical thinking and bring the students to question why things have been created the way they have. The apply section, we have here on the lesson plan an image of the Guernsey and a blank shorts and socks. The students currently part of the CPEP season. Students will each be given a copy of the Guernsey template. It's now their job, using their knowledge of appropriate colours and space, to create a Guernsey and accessories to represent their team. This Guernsey can be decorated in any way they wish, whether it be using watercolour, or even we can supply acrylic paints, practicing their colouring and shading, or even adding in some cutouts from magazines. Students will also be expected to write a short paragraph explaining their design. And then the revised section, during this period, the students will have the chance to explain with their previous groups their Guernsey design and why they've chosen this design. Each student in the group has approximately 2 minutes to explain their design. The students in their groups are required to give some written feedback on the design of the jumper, and if they believe the student has displayed knowledge of colour and space use within their presentation. To conclude the lesson, students then take time to collate self-feedback on their knowledge from the lesson. This can be completed in a KWL chart, one shown for reference to give to the students. Within this feedback, students should be critical on what they knew prior to the lesson, what they wanted to learn, and what they now confidently understand. Guernseys and written pieces are to be handed together to the teacher. And depending on the capabilities of the class, this can be run over 2 lessons if need be. But due to the CPEP season where students are actually running it all themselves, it will be quite imperative that they get this section done.